Good morning. My name is Riley Murray. Cars make up the vast transportation that people use in the United States. Whether people are going to work, school, or any other activities, they use a car as their form of transportation. From a journal of Nelson Mandela, while he was in prison, provided by College Board, he says that losing a sense of time is an easy way to lose one's grip. Now, Formula One drivers, NASCAR drivers, or even drivers in the car community would say and agree with this statement that they lose a sense of time or even their grip on reality when they drive their car. They see it as a way of freeing themselves from all of their problems. Now, most car movies that we watch, such as Fast and Furious or Ford vs. Ferrari, depict this same thing, where the driver feels a state of relaxation while driving his or her car. This led me to my research question. Losing the 10th time. But now let's take a look at what makes up these cars. Combustion cars in the back have a fuel tank which has a fuel pump that provides gasoline to the engine. Now the engine takes this and provides rotational force to the front wheels. But taking a look at an electric car, we see that they have batteries in the center that provide power to an electric motor through electrical cables that provides power to the wheels. Now, which is better? Practically, the positive and negatives, and which is better for the environment? This led me to my research question. To what extent are combustion cars in America more useful than electric cars in the 21st century? This sparked my argument that combustion cars are a better alternative to electric cars in reliability, efficiency, and effect on the environment. Taking a look at the practicality of the two different cars, we can see that combustion cars get anywhere from 400 to 500 miles on one tank of gas. They can reach this their whole lifetime. They also are very fast at fueling up. They're made up of many parts and are cheap to buy. A research paper on pistons in a combustion car by Fifi Zio, a researcher for Information and Engineering Technology Association, says that the structure of the piston can be divided into three parts. Just the piston alone in the engine is divided into three parts. This means that parts are easier and cheaper to buy. Also, these combustion cars last upwards of 250,000, some even getting upwards of 350,000. When taking a look at an electric car, we can see that they get around 350 to 400 miles on one charge. But however, this decreases over their lifetime as the battery can no longer fill up to 100%. You have to wait a lot longer to charge the car. You have to plan out your drive because there's not enough infrastructure in the United States when going long distances with charging stations. Most people don't even have a charging station at their work. The battery motor, when it does come time to replace them, is very expensive. These cars only last upwards of 200,000 miles. Now, when comparing the two with positives and negatives, we can see that electric cars have very quick acceleration, they are self-driving, and they are quiet. A peer-reviewed article by Ramsin Singh, Amy Jolly, and Rikta Gover from Sifa University Hospital states, these automobiles are eco-friendly. When running, electric cars produce no emissions. The negatives, like I mentioned earlier, is they have to take a long time to recharge, there's not enough infrastructure to support these cars, and they're not easy to take long distances. Now, combustion cars, they are very powerful. Most trucks can tow anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000 pounds. They have a longer life when compared to electric cars. They can travel long distances because there's enough gas stations in the United States, and they are good on gas mileage. The negatives, however, are the emissions and the effects the emissions have on the environment. When taking a look at a pie chart of the emissions in the United States, in yellow we can see that trucks and cars make up for about 20% of the emissions. American Association of Microbiology and Harvard Medical School, David Holzman, states that cars and light trucks account for around 20% of the nation's related greenhouse gas emissions. But if we take a look at the orange, electricity, we can see that it accounts for 5% more than trucks and cars. This is power plants and coal plants providing electricity. Now, although electric cars produce no emissions while running, we can see that they do produce emissions when they're being manufactured. Now, if we take a deeper dive into electric cars when looking at the lithium-ion batteries, these are very harmful to the environment when they biodegrade. They release nickel, cobalt, and manganese into the earth, which can be very harmful to people, animals, and plant life. By a source provided by College Board, How Species Adapt to Survive in Cities by Eric Bender, many environmental factors across thousands of cities, things like higher temperatures. We can see that the emissions provided by these factories increase the temperatures and can be very harmful long term. Now, taking a look at the lithium-ion batteries degrading by Emily Brooks, a green activist, social leader, and writer, lithium mining destroys the soil structure and leads to unsustainable water. The water, when these elements seep in, can be very harmful. A real-life scenario, in the Dominican Republic, people suffer from drinking the water. They get very sick. Some women even have birthing defects because of the water. All of my points together, I have concluded that through reliability, positives and negatives, and effects on the environment, combustion cars are a better alternative to combustion cars. These are my works cited. Thank you. And you got any questions?
Two questions. First up, how valid and reliable were the sources that you used, and then how do you know they were?
The sources I use all came from EBSCO or Gale 1 file and from College Board, and I'm positive they are reliable.
All right, and explain the level of certainty that you have over your conclusion.
I have a very low level of certainty. When I looked at the facts all together, I did conclude that combustion cars are better. I know that combustion cars do produce a lot of emissions while they're running, but when taking a look at lithium-ion batteries degrading into the earth and how that affects, I thought that was a lot worse than emissions from combustion cars.
You're done, my friend.